Good morning, everyone, and welcome. How's everybody doing Thursday? Can you believe it? It's already Thursday. 15th of the month, half the month's over. Wow, that's amazing. We're getting ready to go into October already. By the way, if you did take the mid-band trade on crude, be very careful with it. It's still in a downtrend, actually. If you look at it, bear with me a second, I'll show you the charts. See, until it takes out this swing right here, it's not really in an uptrend yet, so be very careful with longs. Even though it's stair-stepping, it did fire and it did do a good job so far, but you got to still be careful with it. And that would stop me out right there, because you basically average in about right through there. So let's see what we get at the open. You know, it's pretty much a downtrend, see it? Big old downtrend. So you could even box it right here if you're not in it. Now, the one thing that made me think it's probably going to go up for a little while, see the low here and the low here. When they're barely lower like that, they usually break to the upside, or, you know, from a short, that is, an opposite for a long. And you had a low here, a high, higher low, and it even started taking all this out. So you could have boxed it technically even through here. But if you didn't, the first thing you've gotten so far is you've got this trade, you got that trade, you got this trade here, and you're getting this trade here right now. Just be very careful with it. Okay. Just got in gold, Bob says. Did it do a mid-band? Yeah, it did. Very good. It did a great break. I had a line drawn on it, so it got a really nice trade right out of the gate. You see it right through here. It did a phantom. Even though that background turned red, does everybody know why you would take a phantom here? So your phantom was here, but if you do the rule, your stop's at line 0, and you could even do close of the bar, and it never got it. I mean, it came close, came really close, but it never got it. And even ES had a beautiful phantom. So we got to wait for a little bit of a pullback right now, unfortunately, unless you just got that gold just a second ago. Now, on gold, what you want to do is you want to be careful with it, because you do have Fibonacci from down here. And they do like to at least touch some level. There's a 23%, and they did touch it, see? But if they do break this, then you're looking at that 38 on a pullback. But so far, so good. Just take some coin if you get it. And ES just hit a target too if you're in it. I'd recommend putting the stop. See how they're barely taking out line 6 right through here? I'd put my stop at line 5, because so far they're wicking and barely taking out line 6. There's your trade still on oil, and that should be a scalp. See there, should be a scalp. Oh, did you do 8 ticks and out? That's fine too. You know, 8 ticks is, you know, a couple of contracts, $160. I just called that one just a moment ago on crude oil. Be careful again, because it's got to take out this top right here to really head up. But you can always bank some coin on it too. Ride your runner until it actually does any kind of a little pullback, like a high, low, lower, high, and lower, low. Watch lightning. And lightning will pretty much get you out of the trade. But you've also got to watch lightning, because lightning is a zigzag indicator. Lightning, you know, if you ever seen a lightning strike, it looks like a zigzag. So if they were to just come straight down, you want to get out anyway. But this is only going to trigger if you get a high, a low, lower high, and lower low. And it may not even here, because see that double topped. But you can take that off the table if you want, just right through there. See, they're trying to wick it right now. And you could even take it out at line 6 if you wanted to. So far, it's still in. Now that, to me, you have a high. See how it double tops? So now you have a high, a low, lower high, lower low below this with a closed bar would get me out of that trade. So far it's still okay. Got to look at the little zigzags. How many of you grabbed it, called it out if you wanted it? And mid-band trader will take it too. And you did get a high, low, lower high, and lower low with close of a bar on ES. And you had your target right there at those predictors. But if you want to stay for the gusto, high, low, higher high, this swing has to hold on a pullback. But that's a pretty good pullback. So you could already be out of this trade. It's in a better uptrend actually than a downtrend. See if it bounces off of a mid-band trade. Now I'm expecting gold to hit this 38%, maybe give us a little phantom. If it just hits 38 and bounces, it won't give us a phantom. But the 50 is even better, and that would be a phantom right down here. And that's also a swing to the left. So if it bounces off 38, you can always take a shot at it. Just be very, very careful with it because it could go down to the 50. And that's still a mid-band trade so far if it goes back in line 3. You're still in crude. Bob, I think we're going to roll over oil tomorrow. I saw that it rolled over today, but we usually skip a day. That's a beautiful trade on crude. You have not been taken out of it yet. See how you diagnose that? And, you know, in real time, you can actually stay with that trade. They're going to come awful close to changing our background if they come down to this 50% right here. But this is a true phantom, first time in after a trend change at the 38. So see how it's trying to bounce right there? That's a phantom trade, but you can always put a very, very tight stop just in case. Because it looks like it wants to be a falling knife possibly, but we'll see. Little phantom trader would fire it on that bar right there. And then I just saw crude oil pull back. Now let's look at it. You've got a high, a low. You don't have a lower high yet, but they are taking out the left. High, low, lower high, taking out that swing so you can be out of that trade. See how we draw our lines on our charts? And this is the line in the sand long short on crude right here. It's another little mid-band trade so far. Little trader would have fired on that part right there. And you put your stop nice and tight just in case. Or at least under here. Because see, then you have a high, low, higher low if they don't take this out. See there? So if you took this trade with a mid-band trader, just don't let it go back against it. And keep in mind it's still a downtrend. Big downtrend. So this could change directions anytime. Now, usually if this one doesn't work, see that stopped you? You got like 5 ticks and then back in your face. This is like your line in the sand long short, but they could still do a phantom and barely wick this and then pop it up again because you do have one phantom. Now, you could skip if you want because obviously you're in a downtrend. All they did is check that high up here to the left and then rolled over. Now, if it's going to continue up at all, it has to bounce right where it's at. See, and it didn't do it. And there's your phantom, no phantom. You'd be short underneath my line. See there? Said that was your long short line. So if you had a box there, you got it, but you got filled right there. Not too shabby though, right? You got your two nice trades. 1, 2. Didn't get this one because I mentioned this is your long short line. If you wanted a phantom, I would have boxed that one, not just taken it. But now this is a mid-band trade, first time in after trend change. Turn on your little mid-band trader. Be careful right at the open. And there you go. Put your stop on this one just right about there where it actually triggered. Ride your runner. Everybody get those? Called 3 out on crude oil. Said be very careful if you do the phantom. Truthfully didn't recommend it because of the fact that the whole thing was short. Phantoms can, and you just stopped on crude if you use a trend line. There's another mid-band trade. You turned on mid-band. Just be careful with it. It's right at the open. So far, a little mid-band trade. And even gold broke down below my line. You could be short on it too. Careful with crude. You got a higher low down there. See that 50 to 53? And 80 is a higher high too. See there where it just kind of popped that? So you're flat on that trade right there. You got a nice trade on the first one right here. Stopped out even on a trend line if you wanted to. And this is a phantom. But I'd be careful with it. And now it's not a phantom. See, it never fired. Oil can be like a little yo-yo. Stair-stepping mid-band. First time in the mid-band after a trend change. Needs to come down here a little bit further for it to trigger. Probably won't. But see, you know, here's the thing. If you're trading this, and it's fairly quick, but see the low, the high, the higher lows. I was mentioning that, you know, this pretty much took out this area right through here. So can you actually go long across there? And the answer is yes. See, because you were already getting a low, high, higher low, and broke the high. And so when it breaks out of that box, you can take it. But if you didn't, you're waiting on a pullback. And I didn't. I was trying to show it as it was happening, a little on the fast side. So everybody stay nicely green on it. Don't jump in and give your profits away. You know, just watch trades really nice and close, tight. Stair-stepping mid-band up on crude oil. Didn't quite trigger the mid-band trade, but you could take it on my line too. And if you did bank some, that's 8, 10 ticks. See the line, higher low? Bank a little bit. And if you're not in it just yet, wait for the mid-band type trade to set up and draw your fibs. We're also waiting for a pullback on gold to get in it if you're not in it at my line break. Careful, it hit that target. It needs to stay going up. Oh, see, Bob, if I miss one, I say about to my Self-pacing. So yeah. If you miss one, you got to wait for the pullback. See, the stinky thing about, this right here even is the fact that it never has checked mid-band to get you in this trade. There's a mid-band trade. See how it just went into mid-band, trying to pop high, low, higher, high. You put your stop right at my line. Patience is the key. And you just got your little trade that worked out. Just turn on mid-band trader and you got it. Key is stair-stepping. Make a little bit of coin. And then just watch the lightning or start drawing your swings. Like there. Don't let it stair-step back down. Patience, patience. Still a higher low. Heading on up. You got to be ready with one thing about crude oil. You got to be ready to go whichever direction it decides to go. Because you notice since the open, you've actually gotten 2 mid-band trades. You could have taken a break because I had the line drawn, remember? Could have taken the break. If you didn't, you still got that trade. That worked out. This one, you probably wouldn't have done to begin with because it got that higher low right there. That's my rule of thumb. But if you do take it, you just simply get in it, put your stop. And if you lost 5 ticks on that, you got it back when it broke the box. And then this little trade worked out too, but it double topped. So another mid-band trade just set up and it would have fired on the mid-band trader. But what's our rule again? Didn't take out the top. So if you do take this one, you got to kind of give it a little bit of wiggle room. And it could be a falling knife again. But if you took it, it would be on that bar, so you're feeling some heat. You can either get out of it or hold your stop. But unfortunately, your stop would be all the way down at line 1 with the trader. And I would not be holding that. Now that is a true phantom first time in after a trend change. And all it needs to do is get up to here for a scalp. And if it rolls around, you want to get out of it pretty quick. Your entry was right there on that bar on the little trader. And so far, so good. See, amazingly, if you held the trade at line 1, like I said, you would have felt some heat though, because you got in right there on that bar. You're actually in like that 8701 area, and you held it all the way down to, what's that, 83, 84 maybe? Let's see, 84, but it still held. If you're doing micros, I'll do this in a heartbeat, but with full contracts, you want to kind of get in this thing, have your finger on the close trigger, and get out of the trade. Then jump in at a phantom. Always check your fibs. And see, that was a 50. 38 pretty much bounced though, see it? I called that one. Okay, you just got 8 ticks on that phantom. Even if you lost 5 ticks on this one, you made it up with the phantom, and now you're riding a runner. Your swing's right here where my cursor's at. Little micro swing. Looks like it wants to take it up when you think about it, because see how it's trying to take out this area right here, and it keeps taking it out just barely. It's like they want to take it back up. But we don't deal in ifs and buts. We deal in swings. So if you got in on this bar with Phantom Trader, you don't want it going back into the box for sure. Now, if this takes this top out, you can actually put your stop under mid-band, but not yet. You don't want it to take out the mid-band truthfully, but see, it's not an identified swing yet, though. See your thrust, retrace thrust. It's not taking out the top yet. So it's got to take out that top, and it's getting ready to. Close it above, then this is your new identified swing. You can put your stop close below it. And you'll still make money on that trade regardless. See, that stopped you out. Now, if it's going to head up again, this is a second phantom type trade setup. It may not come down to line 2 because you're trying to get a higher low. If you didn't use the tight stop and you use the box stop instead, you're still in that trade. But keep in mind those pullbacks like that's a $100 bill too. But that's a higher low. Now this should actually go like this. Thrust, retrace, and thrust. See, so they're trying to hit that top one more time. Everybody see that, how I called that? If you wanted to get out, that's fine, because that did. See, when they don't take out the top though, which they didn't with a close. See, I said it was happening. It didn't take it out with a close, so it's not an identified swing. But you can still take your coin off the table because that was still a great trade. But if you held it, like I said, for the box itself, then you're still in the trade. Only way you'll ever get a gusto is you gotta diagnose your chart in real time. Now see if they slap that. See, like right now, to give an example, I called this area right here. See, and it's trying to tag it. And the way you do that, you got a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high because it closed. So see, that is your swing now. See that? That's your swing. You can see it with lightning if you don't see it with your eye. See there? That's a lightning swing. Okay, so you're hitting the top. You can always take the coin off the table. You could have gotten back in, as I was saying that too, if you even got out here. But it just depends how you want to scalp it. Let's see, template strategy. My strategy is set up for account 1, which currently has no position, but on my chart is showing my position. There's no issue to it at all, Jeff. I'd have to see what sequence you did and everything. I see how that held. See, it wicked it. That's what you do, is you constantly look at your identified swing. Like look over here, for instance, you had a low, a high, higher low, higher high, higher low, but it never really closed above the swing. That's why this didn't hold. But this did hold. See it? See how they do that with identified swings? Now you have a high, low, lower high. You don't want to take this out, because if they do, then they're no longer heading up on the micro trend. If they get a higher low, they'll take this all out. That's the way it works. All right, let's see. Did we get a mid-band trade while we were doing? No. See, if you turn on mid-band trader, it never fired. By the way, just a real quick heads up, a couple of things. Charles is actually having some tests run, so he's not going to be here today or tomorrow. I haven't really found out what the deal is, so we'll just kind of go from there. I don't know, but I know he's had some problems with that surgery that he had on his foot. So we'll just keep praying for him and hope he's back on Monday. All right, but I'll take over the ship. We are looking for a mid-band trade on gold. You turn on your mid-band trader. 38% is just a little higher right up here at this line at 1696.70. It may just roll here. See, it kissed the 23.6 and rolled over. But let's see if we can get a 38, because we are looking for first time in the mid-band after a trend change. Yeah, Dave, I'm giving that some thought. My inclination is just to go ahead without the notice and everything, to just go ahead and skip the webinar tonight and send out notices. So I've been just thinking about that. Okay, here's see how it came back in the box, wicked that area still that we just drew, but that was your identified swing, and I did call it out. See your high, your low, your lower high, lower low. It took it out. So now you're in another trade if you took it, that is, and that may not have touched line 2. It might have too. Yeah, I think it touched line 2. Yeah, there you go. See, called that ahead of time. You got gold right there. It rolled. You got in on the bar. By the way, with the new object trader, you'll have it to where you'll be able to right click. And I've got a little more advanced copy even from yesterday. And I'll tell you what we're working on just real quick. We did figure out how to do the add-ons, which is going to be pretty cool. If you look at, let me just get a chart trader up here real quick. If you look at chart trader, to give an example, okay, you've got, you know, like your little right click trades and things like that. You know, you can right click and put a trade on or whatever, you know, like if you wanted to buy above that. But see, this is pretty cool here. You know, if I want to do as many contracts as I want. But now with object trader, the way it's going to do is going to be to where it won't go any higher than your max contracts, which will be pretty cool too. But you will be able to somehow do the little counter like that. So we're working on that for you. And another thing is, we found out one of the bigger hogs in memory on object trader are these predictors. And he's going to be working on that also. Let me think, what else was there? Oh, to be able to scale in and scale out. Let's say you're in like 4 contracts from Phantom and you saw that it wasn't working out. You'll be able to scale out with the right clicks too. You know, that way you don't just get hurt. Okay. So I think you'll like it once we get it done. Look at that trade I called live on gold. How many of you took it? We diagnosed it in real time. Your little mid-band trader took it. You got 8 to 10 ticks. That's $160. See, that's all you got to do. Target's right here. And if it can break it all the way down to here, but keep in mind, gold's still been on a downtrend. It took out some swings over here, but it's still been on a downtrend. So you could, if you bounce here, take your coin, okay? But if it breaks here, then look to the left to trade the right. And overnight, you had a low of 1690. And you got a low right here of 1692. So if they break here, I kind of expect them to come down to here. And if they keep breaking, this could even happen. Thrust, retrace, thrust. So take that out a little bit. Okay, but don't let it stair step back up. Okay, you got a nice trade. Don't let it turn into, you know, like, oh crap trade. Okay, because it's bouncing right where I said it would. Now let's see if they'll go ahead and roll over with a lower high And again, you can actually use your fibs even here, because when they start retracing, they'll go to 61 to 70% on those retraces. See, there's 38, there's 50, there's 61, and there's about 70 right at that mid band. So, you know, you could already take that off the table, but if this does get a lower high, they're going to take this all out. Okay, and see, they're trying to get a lower high. See there? It hit 38 and kind of rolled over. And see if you can get down there. Called it out live, so you should be in it. What I try to do, and I know that, you know, there's probably some reviewers out there to go, well, you know, they don't trade, they just call trades. Well, what the heck? If you call trades and they work, then, you know, because truthfully, I got nicely green earlier. You know, there was some nice trades earlier this morning on crude and gold. There's your first time in the mid-band after a trend change on oil. Be careful with it, though, because oil likes to really whip around sometimes. It is a mid-band trade. Your swing's right here to the left. They're checking it. They're taking it out a little bit. Got to put your stop at least at the other swing, or maybe at least above line 5. You may lose on that trade. We'll find out. See, even Essie did a perfect. Let's see if that would have triggered. Did it go 2 ticks into the shadow? And the answer is yes. See, there's 1 tick, there's 2 ticks. Rolled over, fired on that bar. So I didn't call that one, but the mid-band trader did. Still working on your crude. You know, there's people that are actually leery of, you know, somebody actually just trying to do good for their trader community or humanity, so to speak, because, you know, one of the things I've said before is that it took me umpteen thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of learning, you know, actually how to trade. And then I practically threw all that out and learned to watch swings. And to teach that, you know, is kind of giving back, so to speak. And people make money if you teach them and you can see the trades in real time. That trade was called in real time before it ever got there. It was a perfect mid-band trade, not after the fact. Bingo. I should have recorded it and then I could put it on that idiot that does reviews. But anyway, also called that crude oil as it was happening. You felt a little bit of heat, but it still rolled over and got your low. Nice little trade. And I didn't call this one, but if you turned on, the one thing I would highly recommend is if you go from a trend change, see your long mid-band to a short mid-band, when it crooks like that, then turn on your little trader. And the trader goes up and the trader goes, I see that trade, boom. And you got you a monster. You're still in this one. See your swing over here to the left, right there. Low, high, lower, low. Did not take it out. It's got a lower high. We are the type that teaches a man, woman, or pronoun how to fish and feed themselves. Because feeding yourself is the most important thing. You know, if we all rely on our stupid government to take care of us, then, you know, why didn't we just name the United States the USSR or China or something like that? So, it's all about independence, making your own way in life. There's a swing right there. If you get a lower high, they're going to continue head down, but you're getting a low, high, higher low. This would be a little higher high if they close that bar. See how they're wicking it? They're checking it. Your swing is right here to the left, right there. If that holds, you can stay with this trade. Now, you are giving some coin back, and they may close above this. And to do that, they'll actually be going a low, high, higher low, and higher high. Over here, high, low, lower high, lower low. So that's the left of the chart. That's the right of the chart. Okay, see how they're checking it? They're wicking it. But you could already be out of the trade too. Because anytime they start taking your coin, all you got to do is hit the close button. Oh, you're welcome, Radon. Radon says, and we appreciate your teachings. And that's the whole thing. You can definitely make money. See, I diagnosed this in real time. See how they wicked it. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to take it out. But so far, all they did was check the identified swing on the left side of the chart. See, low, high, lower, low. That's the left side of the chart. Right side of the chart is low, high, higher, low. Higher, high, but didn't take out the left. It wicked it. See how that works? So that's why you put your stop just a couple of ticks above that swing, wherever it ends up being. If you want a gusto run. Now, if you just want it out of gold, when it even did this low, high, higher, low, higher, high here, even that did change that to green. So you could be out on that bar, or you could stay with this trade just like I called it. It's all about the swings. And just missed calling almost a phantom, doggone it, on crude oil. Anyway, you did get down to the low. It stopped you out, and I didn't call this last trade. See how that's working out still on gold? Beautiful way to trade, isn't it? Your target right down there. Now keep in mind that this is that low to the left, right here. And they just tagged it. Now be careful, because this is a bounce area. And all they did is check that low. Let's see if they get a lower high and still head down. So now you have a high, a low, a lower high so far. If they take out this low, that'll be your new swing. You don't want to put your stop all the way up here now. Okay, to me, low, high, lower, low, this swing should hold on a pullback on the left side of the chart. And actually, even this swing should hold, technically, right there. See, they're trying to check it. And then if it can break this, Katie bar the door, because you should get down to here. There you go, Ed. That's smart. How many were losing traders before they found us? By the way, sometimes if some of these yo-yos out there, do something like, make fun of phantoms or different things like that, tell them to get a life and, post for us. Just tell them, hey, these people do know what they're doing. You just got to be smarter than a reviewer that has no life but just trying to slam other people. All right, so you're breaking that low. I'll have to look that up, Bob. Now watch crude oil. I just saw it bounce on another chart with a higher low. Now it's still trying to roll over the line that I drew at 86.91, so you could be short. Just be careful with it. All right, but look at that beautiful gold trade. I mean, you know, can you get any better than that? And all you got to do is wait for the trade to come to you. Like if a phantom doesn't work, guess what? The next mid-band to the downside probably will if it was a phantom long, and vice versa on the short. See, here's an example here. Phantom worked, got you at least 8 to 10 ticks, but look what it did. It thrusted up. All right, let's diagnose this. Got a low, high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So that kind of needs to hold right through here on a closed bar, seeing it didn't. And this is your ABC side of it. That needs to hold. And it held so far. Lower highs mean lower lows if they'll take out this low at the bottom. And another thing you can do too, I want to show you something, is if you see, let me get rid of this lightning because you can see that these trades would work, but they were a little on the choppy side. But here's an example of a mid-band that worked, called it out. Here's an example of a mid-band that worked, but you felt some heat. You would have gotten that. And this one worked so far, even here at mid-band. But if you see that one doesn't take out the low, you don't even have to go for this one. Wait for this mid-band to actually stair step, because it's going to stair step this way or this way. So far, your mid-band's working. But believe me, if you do mid-band trades, you've either got to get in and out, or you've got to give it the wiggle room that we talk about. See, oil's heading down to check this. See where our gold is. See how gold, you diagnosed it, trying to hit that low. Greg Gim says, just watch and learn, it works. Yeah, because the whole thing is, you know, our stuff is so designed for swing type. By the way, oil just did a mid-band trade if you're watching it. Remember what I said about a crooking mid-band? Fired the trade on that bar. You just got to be careful with it, because here's your line 6 that they could easily come up to. If they try to fake you on these, you want to just watch it, put your box. You can actually just literally get out of the trade just right above the box. That would cost you about 5 ticks, unless they slap it, and then it could cost you 10 or 15, which you don't want them to do. But see how that trade's working so far? Mid-band trade. Careful. See crude oil. Now that's another mid-band. Or you could just be holding the 1, because it has not taken you out yet. They love to do that garbage right there. Now they'll take out the low. Maybe. Maybe. We're going to find out here in a second. They bounced that pretty good off that support. Still is not taking you out. They're trying to check you. Let's see if we got any questions I haven't gotten. Here, Andrew said, I'll read this. That's good, Andrew. Andrew says, don't worry, I'll handle that when I pass the combine using this, because with the other traders he does endorse and the software he sells himself, I blew up multiple evaluations. Okay. So with our stuff, you're making money. Good deal. See, the whole thing is too, if you think about it, do you have to get more than one patient trade and wait on it? I mean, like that gold, what was it doing before that? It was heading up big time, right? It did a phantom, called it out even. Did it do 10 ticks? I don't think so, or even 8. It rolled over. You could have shorted it, because if they don't do those 8 ticks and they stay under mid-band, you can short it. But anyway, even if you missed it, no big deal, because it called this trade right there. Okay. And you're still in it. That's how you make money right there. Not every trade will do it for you, but if you look at the swings, you're going to do quite well. See, if you think about it, if you weren't in this trade, you think this won't reverse direction sometime today? You could actually turn on a chart with mid-band trader long, and I'll bet you'll get it later. They may not, may never even fire, but if they stair step back up and come back to mid-band, it would fire. See how you got a low, a high, a lower, well, pardon me, a low, a high, higher low. You don't really want to take this out with a closed bar. That's your micro trend. Okay. This is a little bit more secondary trend. See your high, low, lower high, lower low. This swing has to hold regardless what happens. See how they're wicking that swing? That's because they're testing it to see, is that going to hold? And see how it held. They just wicked it. So you're still in the trade. So that works. Your target's still down here at that 1690. Now, if you had like just one left, think about it. From here to here is 24 ticks. So giving away 24 ticks, isn't it smarter to diagnose your chart in real time and stay with the trade as long as your swings actually are heading down? Now, if they take out this low right here, this will be a new established lower high, right where my cursor's at. Takes that out. This is going to be a new identified swing at 1692.30. See how it held on the left? Held on the left again. That's your new identified swing right there. Right there at 20. Now you want to protect some coin. It's right down at the low of the day. But if it blows through it, you're a happy camper, right? You got a low. That's your swing if you want to hold it there. Now keep in mind that's way up there. So you could also look to the left, trade to right, and don't let it go above that 91.20, that swing right there to the left. This one's a little iffy here. See, that's pretty low. See, there you go. Now watch it. Watch it for any higher lows, and if it does, you get out. Your identified swing is right there at 1690.80 right now. This may be your new established lower high if they can take this low out. So far it's not. This is on the left. Now when they shotgun like that, sometimes you can just hit the button too, but you are getting a lower high again. It did it so fast, even lightning didn't draw properly, but I can see it. That's a new lower high than this one over here. See if we can take out the low. You could now put your stop at close above that, because if you get a low, high, higher low, and higher high, then you're done. They keep trucking on down. Stick with the trade. You can make a lot of money if you just learn how to trade like this. You're going to get taken out of a lot of trades, obviously, that you'll just scalp. But when they're stair-stepping, you're doing nothing but staying with the trade. Stop would be right there at 1690, 50 area. See, they're getting a low, high, lower low, just barely. Now you need a lower high again. You can even turn on the little, without using lightning like this, because it gets kind of, busy. You can also turn on, let me get rid of lightning. Turn on this little deal right here, minor trade short in this case, and it'll be these little black bars flashing. Now you've got a low, high, higher low, and higher high. That's your identified swing. They need to close below it. Otherwise, you're, guess what? Out, and you're out. See there? Now, do you have to trade anymore? No. This is the first in the mid band after a trend change. This is the second one right here. It did ratchet down. It's a legitimate trade. But you've got to put your stop just above the bar that closes down. Okay? If you don't use it all the way to where the stop automatically goes in, and that's all the way up at line 7. Okay? It is rolling. Now, if you hold mid-band, keep in mind that's 24 ticks back, but you can also stay with the trade, with mid-band. You can also look at how it's actually doing as it goes down. See, like it's taking out line 2. So see how it's not taking out line 3 with a close. So you put your stop at line 3 with a close. And see, that would have got you to begin with right there, but it did get you back in. But I like this method better, because this literally, in my personal opinion, got you out the moment it broke from a low to a high and double bottom, then a low, high, higher low, higher high on not that bar. See it, how it touched it? But that bar right there got you out. And you don't have to trade this trade at all. But if you do, you got your stop in. Look at crude oil. Called that trade. Did I call that one? No. Did Trader take it? Yeah. That's a mid-band trade. Ratcheting down big time. Some of you are in it. That's the whole reason that I designed that little trader to begin with. And I think it's a great little trader, but it's not one you're going to turn on and leave on. It is not designed that way. It's designed for stair-stepping mid-bands. And if it's sideways like gold is right now, there's your phantom trade. It would have fired on that bar right there. Your stop is right there. And if it takes it, then just put a big old X on this chart and say, you know what? Until you decide to behave yourself again like you did earlier, then I might stay away from you. So see, when they break micro, they'll go check these medium swings. Now, what's your medium swing? I'll draw it. So your medium swing, high, low, lower high, lower low. This is your medium swing right there. Now they're taking that out. See there? So are they really heading down anymore? And could you actually, when you box this, reverse the trade? I do it all the time for 5, 6, 7 ticks, because I clearly diagnosed it in real time, right? You had a low, high, higher low, higher high, even on the left, that was your swing right there, and they took it out, okay? So if they then break this bar right here, you can actually box those in long. But keep in mind that Phantom is still a legitimate trade on this because it's first time in after a trend change. And that's about 85% probability. But that's also why I take the long up to Phantom. And this could be a missile too. I mean, it's breaking everything. It broke Lightning 3. So if it changes, remember I even said, if you want to get the next trade, just turn on your long midband because it'll go from one to the other. Now, right now, it's still a Phantom so far. If you take a Phantom, your stop is actually at line 8, okay? I wouldn't personally take this Phantom because it took out Lightning 3. But it is a Phantom. See it? Rolling over. We're going to find out if this is going to really change trends. Unfortunately, it's got to really break even this line right here to change the midband so that we could look for a long. You're still looking for shorts right now, but you could be long for a scalp too. If that sounds confusing, it's really not, because you're talking about micro trend versus medium trend. If it changes that midband and stair steps, so guess what? We'll be looking for a long. It is getting a green background. You can just be patient on this trade. Wait for it to stair step. See, this is why you have to kind of hold these a little bit. See how this kind of double bottomed on oil, but it didn't take out the swing to the left. See the thrust retrace, kind of a thrust there. You're basically like right here on your identified swing at that time as this was doing this, and it rolled over. And midband trader will take that trade. It'll take it on well, MCL is different. I'll go ahead and show you CL. Yeah. That's weird. It won't let me turn my chart trader off. Probably because object trader has been on the chart. That's okay. So see, here's that same chart I showed you a few minutes ago. If you do midband short criteria C, unfortunately, it's going to get you in here. Now, if y'all want it to where it has to touch midband, you're going to miss this trade. See that beautiful trade right there? That's why I personally like the 2 ticks in, because if you had to look for midband itself, now it would have never fired here. It would have fired here, and you got a nice trade, okay? But you'll miss this trade. I mean, we could even change it, which I don't think we should change it, because 2 ticks in works quite well. But see, this would have fired here, and you definitely felt some heat. Or you put your stop. Let's say you get in right here. You put your stop above the box. Go in again if it gets a midband trade, and you got it there. So you got more than your 5 ticks back. Otherwise, you just have to hold it with the way we designed it. That is all the way up at line 7, and it never got there. But that's tough to do, because if you do 3 contracts and you're in here at 89 and it goes all the way up to 05, you know, that's 16 ticks, and that's, you know, $480 on oil. So best to get out, get back in. You know, this would fire here. You're feeling some heat. You are getting a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. But that's a midband trade still. Maybe a missile, though. We'll find out here in a minute. Still rolling at midband. We all hate this as far as that goes, because with 4 range bars, you know, it'll nail that trade right here, but look how beautiful it did it there. Okay. So, but if you draw your fibs, you can always not turn on the trader until it hits a certain fib. I like at least 61 on smaller thrusts. And see, that technically rolled at 61 and then faked you. That is a phantom first time in after a trend change. This is your long short line in the sand. If phantom works, then it'll head on back down, because you've got they broke micro, so they're checking the medium swing, and they did get a lower high. And you could always do another rule of thumb too. If you get your tail kicked on one trade, wait until it actually stair steps again. That's another way to do it. So that is a true phantom, but see, it rolled right there on that bar. Your stop's at line 8. That's also the swing on the left. Let's see if it would work, just for the fun of it. It looks like it's not to me, because it's literally trying to head up. But if it gets a lower high, then high, low, lower, low, it could actually still work. I'll draw the line at it. Right there's your resistance. Getting a green background, stair step mid-band. So you turn on mid-band, trader long now. See? So if a trade doesn't work and it takes you out, I think it's still best to get out of the trade myself. Because if you do, like even this little trade here, like we were talking about, it would fire on that bar, like so. And that bar went down and right back in. So you can get out even when it does that. But let's say that you get out here instead. Then you're still looking for mid-band trade, and you did get it. So you more than made that back up. This one over here, though, if you would have taken the trade here, stopped out, taken the trade here, maybe made something, maybe not, stopped out, there's another mid-band trade there, stopped you out. So as you start getting those higher lows, you got to start thinking about going the other direction. So let's see if we can get a mid-band trade. And let's see what fib will be. 38% right there. 50% right there. It's a true mid-band trade, first time in after a trend change. There's your entry bar. I think it's going to come down to 38 myself, though, but we'll see. I like actual fib numbers myself. See, so what I do is usually turn it on when it touches my fib, and then if that bar pops up, didn't pop up, so you're looking for your 50. That is a mid-band, though. It did pop up just then. See how they love to do? In real time even. So that trade's working so far. You never took this one because it wasn't a fib. That one may not work, though. If they don't, then you've just got to get out of the trade. Because what are they trying to do? They may be coming all the way down to a 50. So you got in, you got out. Or you hold it with line 1, which is very hard to do unless you're in micros. Here comes your 50. Now, usually as a rule, oil won't do a phantom before they do a mid-band. So this should be a legitimate trade. See how it's bouncing above the 38 a little bit. Got to give them a little wiggle room, unfortunately. Now, if you took that trade right here and you held it, I wouldn't let it go personally below the 50. But if it breaks 50, it's going to head down some more. But you could always put your stop just under the box too. Looks to me like they're still faking. And another way you can do, if you want to, obviously, is don't even go back in the trade until you get a low, high, higher low, and higher high. And so far, you're just getting a low. You got a low here, a high, same low. So you start to count again, low, higher. You need a higher low, and then break the swing, and you could take it. See, so far, it's just stair-stepping down. But that would be a lightning trade. I don't know why that's still probably green because it hadn't closed below. See how your box is still holding so far. Just like you, I hate this trade too, because, you know, aren't they so much better when they work out just right off the bat than this garbagey sideways stuff? Because if you look at lightning, it's pretty much still stair-stepping down. See? See if it gets a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. Kind of takes this little area out here. It could go up. We'll see. And like I say, the only other way to do it is you either choose this swing that it's trying to make, like line 2, anything above, like Charles always says. I held that too long. You know, this line to hold, which is 50%, but your little trader will put the stop right there. Now, if you got in here, which it did trigger here, and you got out, you lost 5 ticks. Here, it triggered again. You either went to break even or lost 5 ticks. See? And if you do that like twice, just say, you know what? You can kiss it, crude oil. I'm not even going to touch you for a while. See what I mean? Don't get mad at it. Just say, you know what? You're not doing what I thought you'd do. So guess what? There are other charts that are willing to do it. There you go. I called that ahead of time. I saw that on my other chart, by the way. Remember I said we got stopped out, right? You didn't go long here. We didn't take the phantom because it took out lightning 3. It thrust it up. You could have technically, obviously, boxed it in and gotten that monster move. But look at that first time into mid-band after a trend change. That's your trade right there. That's the one you're always looking for. And if you can get that trade and that trade, you're done. You got both trends. See there? And remember I said ahead of time, if it starts going the other way, all you got to do is start stair-stepping that mid-band. And off she goes. Oil's still playing, but it's still staying above line 2. Usually if I get in a mid-band trade and I'm up nicely, if I start seeing that they're taking money from me, then drop it down to 1 contract. See, it's still holding, you know, line 2 held, but that to me is the sloppiest mid-band trade there is. And I hate that particular mid-band trade. There you go. Kevin says, I am trading today for the first time. With the auto trade. Yeah, and like I say, don't just turn it on and leave it on, because I teach and Charles teaches, watch for the thrust and the retrace. And the key to that is stair-stepping mid-bands. See how that oil trade worked out? But they just mind-numbingly, see what I'm getting at? They didn't quite get down to the 50. This is why I can't build a fib trader. Because if we said, okay, take the trade at 50%, close of the bar, it never touched it. It missed it by 2 ticks. See? But I did call it out and say where you could put your stop, line 2. So did you feel heat on that? You bet you did. But it was still a stair-stepping mid-band, which you can pretty much expect to go your direction, at least for a thrust, retrace, and a thrust. So leg 1, leg 2, leg 3 type trades. Anybody hold that? As I was saying, or at least got out once and then got back in it and held, you could do that. Gold trade's wonderful, by the way, if you took it. I got to figure out a way to talk with my programmer, you know, to where, for instance, let's say that I was in this trade right here. Let me get rid of this. You can clearly see that this is stair stepping up, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. So now you have a high, same high, see, so that's not a low right there. Staying above line 6. Taking out the top, or at least trying to. So you just start your count, you know, low, high. If it gets a lower low than this, you know, you got to start thinking about taking coin. Pretty much right through there. See how it's trying to take it. Now here's like a little micro swing right here. And here's more of a secondary swing right here. See if it holds. See, now you can start your count. See how you've got a high, low, lower high so far. If it rolled over and took this out right here, then that would be a lower high, low, lower high, and lower low. But right now, so far, it's just bouncing. So you can get to where you can stay in these trades for a good long time if you learn to do this. Oil just came back to a mid-band. Probably going to be sloppy like this one. Kind of double top too. Just barely took out the previous top. You don't want to take this out right here because that's like a line in the sand. See there? Now this is a first time into phantom after a trend change. Little phantom trader will take that if you turn it on. And you'd have to put your stop literally just right there. And if that doesn't work, then guess what? You wait for it to break, change trends, which means it'll stair step down. So this is either going to continue heading up or it's going to crook that mid-band to the downside. Then you'll look for a first time in. There's another Goldie. Now, it did take you out. See how it went high, low, lower high, and lower low right on that bar? But if you use the actual swing to the left, see, high, low, higher high, it never took it. It just depends on how you draw your swings. See, and that is a mid-band trade, by the way. Now let's diagnose this one in real time. See what crude oil is right at the 50%. Testing it. Taking out the swing though. Still a phantom. A lot of times they'll do this. Now if they go down to the 61, like here, they're going to change trends. Let's see what they do. If you get in a phantom, see, the first time into phantom after a trend change is usually an 8-tick trade. That might have done 6. Still a phantom. Well, I can tell you this, usually if you lose on a trade, like let's say you got in on this bar, like so, you put your stop at the bottom of the box, you got either barely a profit and stopped out at break even, or you lost 5 ticks. Now see, it's going to stair step the mid band, see it? And you can be short here because I've taught that trade, box it like that. But if you didn't, you're waiting for the pullback in the mid band and a rollover. And we'll see if it does it. See how Essie got a phantom so far? How many of you took that break? I've taught that trade for a long time. You know, if a phantom does not work, you know, you don't get back up to mid band, at least that's your 8 to 10 ticks, then take the break to the box. That's why I put reverse on Object Trader. I don't like to reverse very often, but a phantom is a deep retracement. That means that you're going, either a deep retracement or a trend change. All right, let's see where we get in this trade. $23.638. I'd want at least the mid-band, but see how it's trying to check this one. We'll see if it gets up there. It is definitely a stair-stepping mid-band, so it's about an 85% probability trade with your mid-band trader. Now we're getting close to the time. See, we're at 9:05 right now. See, that rolled off of 23 so far. If you take that, the best way to do is not let it go against you at all. See, I've got my line drawn on the chart, actual fib, and there's 10 ticks. Did not get to mid-band though. But see, if you do learn to see these in real time, draw with your little fib trader, you got 8 ticks. Double bottoming now, it's going to check to 38. And possibly even higher, we'll find out. Getting a lower high still. I'd be looking for that mid-band trade. Now, this is a decent trade. I drew it on the chart in real time. But if you take that, you are definitely scalping because you're only going from here to here. And they didn't even get quite down to there to begin with. See, they missed it by a couple of ticks, or 1 tick at least. But that's still a 10-tick trade if you took it, or 8. Watch for this one. Can you show how the reverse works? Well, the reverse, the way it would work would be, let's say, for instance, that you drew this with phantom. Well, let's say you just took a phantom trade because you have to use the phantom trader to get it. And then you quickly put your stop at just below the box. You can actually set stop and reverse there. It's risky though, because until it takes out line 0, this could have easily stair-stepped up too. But this was kind of telling you that it wasn't going to do it, because just like, see where they barely take out that high right there? That's usually when they just don't hold the uptrend. Same way on a downtrend. Let's see if we can figure out where they. Now that one took out the low pretty good. So, I would have still definitely been looking for a short here because it ratcheted down. See how that works? Now, you didn't get your mid-band trade. It never fired. It's going to be a missile instead. It is a phantom, though. See it? Phantom type trade. That's your entry bar. Phantom trader would take it. Now, if this is going to head up instead of down, it's going to hold some of the support. See how that's a perfect phantom trade, though? First time in after a trend change. Support right there at my lines, taking it out, and down she goes. What kind of a retrace was that? 61 from where we drew the 0 line. See, they'll either stop at the 50, which they didn't, 38, which they didn't, and 61, which they did. How many of you took that as I was calling that out live? That's a killer trade. And your target's right down here. If you look at the left to trade the right, it more than likely will do this, thrust. Big old retrace, phantom, and another thrust. Like so. Now, if you start getting higher lows, they're going to take this puppy up again. So be careful with it. You could already be stopped out of your phantom. Or that was straight down. You haven't had a low, high, higher low, and higher high yet. You could still be in it. Up to the individual, how long you want to ride this. But see how lightning's drawing? That's pretty much your swing right at this moment. See right there at 87? If it takes out this low, that is your swing. See there? That's your swing. Now you just watch double bottom. Amazing how you can tag those. You got a low, you got a high. Your identified swings right here. That's a lower high. So low, high, higher low so far. If it takes this out, that's your new lower swing. And usually if they're pushing that hard, I draw them before they ever take it out. That way you can put your stop tighter, quicker. Now see, they double bottom, so to liable to get that stop, you could then move your stop literally to right there because that's your swing that's identified. They didn't identify this one yet. Once they take out this low, this will be identified. And that's not identified yet, but it came close. Wicked it. Got to close though, in my opinion. Otherwise, that's not identified. See, it's not identified. So they're trying to say, are you going to identify? Well, now it may identify here instead. See that double bottomed? Here's your identified swing right here at 87. A lower high than that could still take it down because this is still not identified. This may be your new identified here instead on the right. On the left, it's already identified. See your low, your high, your lower low. So they can't take that out and continue heading down. With a lower high here, if they take this out, this will be your new lower high. And it looks like they're going to do just that. Takes out the low of the close. That'll be your new identified swing. Higher low, low, high, higher low so far anyway. Needs to take this out. So far it is. Now you've got on this side of the chart a high, low, lower high, lower low. So this is your new micro swing. This is more of a secondary swing right here on the left. But they are stair-stepping down. There you go. You just broke it. So that's your new micro swing. That's your new secondary swing. Your target's still down there. Now, did everybody get nicely green with my trade calls today? Because if you learn to diagnose your charts like this in real time, you can't lose money unless you go against your rules. Now, I haven't traded a lot this morning because I've really been putting the teaching to it because I'm the only moderator in the room and I just kind of took over, obviously. Green, lots of people saying green, you bet. Good. Well, that's what this room is about. We want everybody to make money. And I try to show it where, I hammer it and hammer it and hammer it until everybody gets it. Because once you get it, you'll see the trades ahead of time and then you'll be ready for that trade. See how that little swing that I drew that line at held so far? That's your micro trend. Bar up, bar down, pretty much a micro trend on Lightning 1. There you go, Bob. Yeah. You know, I read one of the reviews one time to give you an example, and it said something like they sent in somebody for 15 minutes in the room, and it was like well, for their words, it was a circus. I don't consider this a circus because these are being called in real time. I mean, if it was like, oh, look at this, well, look what you could have made, and then never was called, that's a different story. But to actually, call them on the charts as they happen, that's skill. And it was bought and paid for, believe me, because I spent a fortune learning how to trade. Oh, an oval. Uh, Greg, I could do something like that. Now, see how this double bottomed here? But they did take you out. I called it right there. See, that was your micro swing. When did it start stair stepping back up? You can see it. Low, high, higher low, higher high on that bar, but also high, low, lower high, lower low. That's on the left. So once they broke that, you were out of the trade. See? That's why rather than using mid-band, you want to use the little micro swings. Now this looks like this might be a missile. We'll find out. I didn't call it long. That is a phantom, by the way. Now, if it's going to be a trend change, they're going to take this out and head up. But so far, the phantom's actually working. If you turned it on, they're shooting for this line. Now, be careful if they don't, because this could be a missile. They're really pushing it. Still a phantom so far. If you got your stop right there, they just took you out. So that trade did not get you 8 ticks, and it stopped you out either at break even here or a loss here. But your loss would have only been like 5 ticks. Could you have reversed that trade and gotten the 5 ticks back? You can clearly see you could. See there? So you put your trade in. See how this trade went in and it went down, 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 down? This one went down and then back up. So could you reverse it right there with our tools? Yes. So 5 ticks, stopped out at break even, had your box turned on, reversed it. That's the way you can do it. Because you could tell it was going to be a missile because it broke lightning 3. See, so a lot of times, and a lot of our traders went long right here. When this did this right here and kissed that box, they went long. So your phantom didn't work, but it kissed right on top of the box and off it went. And now you're looking for what? A mid-band long. And it'll get it. Just got to be patient. But I did say in many webinars, that's the same thing as the reverse on the other one a little while ago that was long. See, that's the reverse right there. That's the reverse right there. Same thing. Almost came down to mid-band, not quite. Now, this is a first time in the mid-band after a trend change. That's not what I consider a really stair-stepping mid-band. But if you take it, be tight on it, because barely stair-stepping like that, and it barely took out this low over here to the left, right there. See, barely took it out. So this is a little riskier mid-band, but it is rolling. So you'd simply put your stop. If you get in on that bar and you don't want to lose a bunch, you want to put your stop right at my line. So that's a mid-band first time after trend change. Just don't let it go against you. See how that works? I mean, if you train your eye to see these trades, you know, this is not a webinar that's not real-time stuff. Look at this. Called it out. You could have taken that one. We had the box drawn. That was a perfect mid-band trade. That's a perfect mid-band trade. Will it continue working? Not necessarily. But so far, you got your stop right there, and you do have your 8 ticks. Oh, did you get a ES Phantom? I didn't see it. Yeah, there you go. ES Phantom. Background's perfect color. There you go. Time and time again, they work out. Now, oil today, for some reason, going deeper, but if you got in a mid-band trade, you get out, right? We draw our box. So you either lost 5 ticks, because it definitely would have fired on that bar. So you lost 5 ticks. Technically, you could short it, but I don't like to short those. I will look for a first time into Phantom. It could be a falling knife. We'll find out, but that's a true Phantom trade. We'll see if it actually works. All it's got to do is get you 8 ticks, and it worked. And if it rolls over, guess what? That's where you got in right there. So see, you lost 5 ticks. You don't go for another mid-band. You wait for the Phantom. Is the Phantom going to work? Well, so far it got about 6 ticks. That's it. And you're back in your box. You could be flat. It looks like it's going to head down instead. So you reversed it, right? Just like you did on the other one. And don't let it go back in the box. And if they play with you at all, then walk away from that particular chart for a while. But see how that Phantom, if they don't get up to mid-band, they're usually not going to be anything different than an actual trend change. So if you lost 5 on this one, you probably gained the 5 already back. So that could be like a wash, and you could just say, ha ha, you didn't get me. See what I mean? Now you got closer to 6, 7 ticks. And let's see if it gets 8 or 10. You got that, Bob? Yeah, I wasn't watching that, but yeah, that's a beautiful trade right there. Let's diagnose it. First off, you had yellow midband, so that's actually a Phantom. So you did get a Phantom and got 8 ticks long. Now it's hard for me a lot of times to take a Phantom when the background changes red. Very hard. But if you do take it, you got to get those 8, 10 ticks. Then you want a stair-stepping midband. See, there's a stair-stepper. There's your first time in after a trend change, which might have gotten 7 ticks or so. But then you wait for a Phantom, and there it was right there. Would have fired on that bar. Yeah, monster trade. Good job, Bob. That trade I just called on gold worked out. Now see how oil got you 7, 8 ticks and right back in your box. You're flat. You don't stay with this trade unless you want to see if it's going to stair step down. You got a low, you got a high, got a lower low. You could take a chance with that swing right there, but you're going to have some heat. So far, you're just coming out of the box again. Here's a mid-band trade setting up on ESSI. First time in after trend change. Well, from this color, it's still a trend down, but that is a ratchet down, and that is a legitimate mid-band trade. Just be very careful with it. You'll lose like 5 or 6 ticks if it takes out the top of that box. The only time they should really get you on these trades is if they slap them. Because if you're on the wrong side of a trade and they go the other direction, a couple of contracts, you can get hurt pretty quick. So if you got in right here at, say, 60, you just got 8 ticks. There's your target. Always be banking if they bounce off that target. See how predictor's sitting there saying, watch me. When they start hesitating, watch your coin. See you've got a low, a high, a higher low. Close above that, they're really starting to stair step, but only on a wick. So you could just put your stop in the box for your runner. So you've already made your coin, you've already banked some, and now you want a lower high if this is going to continue heading down. Don't let it go back in that box, because this could be a low, high, higher low, and if they start taking this out, they'll head up. But let's see if they get a lower high and head on down. So far, target's still here. Now you can almost tell where your target's going to be with this little thrust down, retrace, and thrust down should take that out a little bit if they hold this swing. See, because you've got a measured move, thrust, retrace, thrust. So they should hit right down there. And you're just riding the gusto. Okay, called it out live as it was happening. All right, there's your profit target. You don't want to take out that swing because you have a low, high, lower, low. That is your identified swing right at the top of that box. And as long as it doesn't, as long as it stair steps down, see, now here's your new identified swing. See it right there. Beautiful trade. Now, what you got to teach yourself to do, though, is you got to teach yourself to see this without not trading, okay? Because what I'm trying to do is show everyone in this room how to do this in real time, okay? But I don't have time to do this plus watch trades on 3 charts. When I'm trading in the morning, I'm seeing this stuff in real time and I'm watching it. I don't have to draw on my charts to see where I want out of this trade. Saw it and took it. Yeah, perfect trade. Called it live. All right, now that it took out that little box, where's this thing heading? Well, what about this? Thrust, retrace, and thrust. Look to the left to trade the right. That's pretty good support too. But you can already see where you diagnose this chart to get out of it. See your low, your high, your higher low so far. That's not identified yet. Okay, this is identified right here. See it? Low, high, lower, low. That's identified on the left. Now to identify it on the left again, it's got to take out this low. Now see you're getting a low, high, higher low. If they close above this, then that's taking out what we call micro. Okay, it's not taking out secondary, which is on the left here. And they'll probably check that swing right there. See it on the left? And if they roll over, you're still good. But why put your stop all the way at mid-band? That's 24 ticks back. You want to watch for any kind of movement like this where it does a low, like a low high, and then does this, like a higher low, like that, and then does a higher high. Because if it does that, you want out of that trade. See, so far it's not. Now that's your identified swing. So you can get rid of all this. You don't need it anymore. See? All we need is that. That needs to hold. See, it's a little micro swing. Not much of a micro swing, but it is a micro swing. Then they took it out. You could be flat on it. Now on the left, your swing's right here where my line is. If it stays below that, they'll head down again. Another mid band. Doesn't look like it's going to work though. But your stop is right there at the line close of the bar, and it hadn't done it yet. See, they just wicked that swing. See, so you have what's called like a micro, or for better terms, just micro. So your low, your high, your lower low. Well, when they take this out with the close of a bar, they're taking out micro. All right, but on your secondary, you can even draw it with lightning too. You'll see it. See there, you have a low, high, lower low. This is your considered your secondary swing. See, low, high, lower low. Held, called it out, but you got to put your stop just above my line. And your target's still down here. Don't let them go back against that line. What I say about just trend changes, we said box that in, see how, if you extend your box, see how you got in it here. You don't have to take the break, take the kiss and roll, and see that same box, if you draw it right across there, kissed and rolled. But what if you didn't take that? How about that trade? First time in after a trend change, mid-band trade. Over and over and over. But I did not design the little trader to just be turned on and left on, because, well, how many ticks are you going for? See what I mean? So you can't really do that, because the whole idea is staying in a trade. Like this trade right here on crude oil. See how it's stair-stepping down? See how that little swing held right there? You're still in that trade from that monster rollover. If it takes out the low, that's going to be your new identified swing. And you don't want that taken out. It's not identified yet, though. It hadn't closed below. If it closes below, that's identified, and your new micro is identified too, which will be right here. See there? That's now identified. So you can keep your stop nice and tight. They'll wick you out, though, believe me. See how they're wicking it? And then look to the left to trade the right. Your ABC type move is right here. If you want a looser stop, close above 49. See how that works? Does anybody know of a room out there at all that teaches like this, while literally drawing on charts and showing you exactly, not ambiguously or anything or anything like that, but literally as the charts are running? So we can all make money doing that, right? Now you've got a low, you got a high. See if they take anything out. Your swing is at 41 right now. Now it's going to be more than likely just above that 32 if they can take out that low. So low, high, lower low, low, high, higher low. That would be your micro. If they break it, see, they're holding it, and this is your secondary. So if they break that, you're going to be out of the trade. If they break this with a closed bar, this is definitely your new identified swing. Not yet, though. See how it's just right at the low? Now you don't have a low, high, higher low. It's the same low. So this is now your identified swing. See, because they double bottomed. But I also find that when they even double bottom, this needs to pretty much hold. Okay, so that's a tight stop. There you go. There's another identified swing, 2 of them. See, everyone, how you can stay in a trade? That's how you stay in a trade. Swings are king. You know, why hold that all the way to mid-band when you know right now that your identified swing is at 33-ish, right there where that line's drawn? Now, granted, that's all the way up to mid-band to begin with on this particular instance, but see how this is breaking? Got a low, high, lower low, got a low, high, lower low. They're kind of breaking this one with a wick bar anyway. But that's your true swing right there. And they'll test them, believe me. You know, anytime you get coin, it's like, oh my gosh, they're already taking it back. See what I mean? Stopped out. Called it out if you wanted it. Now that's a mid-band trade. I'd be a little more leery of it because it's actually taking out A, B, C. This swing to the left right here is kind of telling you if they want to very possibly head this back up. But so far it rolled over on a mid-band trade. But see, if you would have held mid-band, they took you out anyway. So why not get out a little bit earlier, you know, with your little micro swings? Now, the way this is doing right now, just turn on your long mid-band trade because it'll start stair-stepping one way or the other. Right now, it's flatlined. So when they do this, where you're still flatlining like this is your range right here, from here to here, right? So they won't be stair-stepping our mid-band until they take this out up here. Or if they take this out down here, they'll stair-step again. Doesn't mean you can't be short on this because this is a mid-band trade and it would fire on this bar right here. You're feeling some heat if you did it though. Right there on that bar. So that would have been out for sure because it took it out. That's 5-tick loss. But you might have gotten 8 ticks too. Now that's a true phantom first time in after, is it first time after a trend change? Yes. First time after a trend change. This is your phantom. And if you do take it, I'd put a really tight stop because this looks like this could be a missile instead. But that's a true phantom. First time in after a trend change, right there on that bar right there. And your stop is at line 8. Like so. But if it stair steps, see your high, your low, your lower high, your lower low, you could now put your stop on that swing. You'd still feel a little bit of heat, but only about 5 ticks. And you may already have 8 because I called it on that bar. And the little trader would take it on that bar. So just don't let them take your coin back. If you got 8 ticks, you got a trade already. But this could easily be a missile. See the high, low, higher high, higher low again. Now on this side, it's a high, low, lower high, just barely, lower low, just barely. So it's still a, quote, phantom trade first time after a trend change. But still getting higher lows in my opinion, so I'd really watch it. Don't let it go back in the box. Look at that gold. Called that live right there at that mid-band. How much heat did you feel on that trade? Maybe 5 ticks. because you got in on that bar right there. They didn't take you out, and they had it on down. Your swing identified low, high, lower, low is right here on the left, and it held. So you're still in that trade. Target 1690.60. By the way, your phantom worked out on crude. You did get your 8 ticks. Now, if you don't want to take chances on like mid bands like this, see, you are getting higher lows, so you could technically go long, but you're going against the teaching because that's a phantom short. Otherwise, just simply turn on the mid-band trader again, because see, it won't fire in this area anyway because it's a misty rose mid-band. So what you do is you just turn on the mid-band trader again, long and short. So it's never going to fire a long as long as it's got a short mid-band. It's never going to fire a short as long as it's got a long mid-band. So it'll go one way or the other, but you can just stay out of it for now. You got a phantom. It worked. You got your stop right there at that line now. See your low, your high, your lower low. That's your swing on the left. Low, high, same low. They've just got to take this out if they're going to get you. So far, it's still a downtrend. Yeah, the ES Phantom worked too. There you go, Bob. ES Phantom got you 2 trades in a row. Careful with crude oil. That is a higher low from the previous swing. But you can put your stop right there just above 48 and you'd still have profit even on the runner. And you're still in it. If it closes below that, where's your new swing? Anybody? You got 2 of them. See your low, high, lower low. Your swing's right there. And your swing is right there. You need to stay under that one and for sure that one. Look to the left, trade the right though, and you are getting high, low, higher, high. So they could easily take this puppy up. They just stopped you on that one. So you're flat. Now, do you want to just keep trading this or you want to wait for a stair stepper? Personally, I'd just turn on the stair stepper. See how that one held though? You could still be in the trade if you didn't use the micro. You use the more secondary, you're still in it. See how that works? They're constantly checking these. And if you draw on your charts, you'll see them. See, that held, so you could still be in the trade if you wanted to be. Now, if you didn't want to be, they took that out. You still got a great, at least $160, $200 on that trade, even if you took it out there. If you didn't take it out where I drew the second line, you're still good. Okay. How do you set auto fib initially? Well, it's not auto fib. Oh, you mean the auto fib on the Ninja 8? Just right here. See how that's grayed out? That's weird. You just set your auto fib. Let me just get rid of everything. But let's say, for instance, that this swing here to here, that's probably 61. Closer to 70. But 70 is a sweet spot on these pullbacks too. Here's 61.8 right there. See, it barely went above it and then rolled over. And there's your 76 right here. That looks like about a 70, 72, but it rolled perfectly at a phantom. That's what you got to train your eyes to see. I called that out live and see it's still heading down, and it held our second line so you could still be in the trade. You just hit a low. And beautiful trade, by the way, if you held it just like I said. You know, it's up to the individual where you want to actually get out. Micro, they're going to take a lot of times. But if you look to the left to trade the right, that swing will usually hold. Now, see, there's a mid-band trade right there. I said, what did I say? I said you could stay out of the flat line and just turn on mid-band long and short. And if it stair steps, it'll get the trade. And it just did. I should have recorded this. I'll do a whole session where I just record and we'll put it on the training site. But wasn't this like a webinar? Let's just call Thursday night's webinar done. Because I am teaching you how to see these trades in real time. Ton of info, Andrew says. Yeah, it definitely is. And the beauty of it is that if a person puts it to task and trades it, you can't lose money trading unless you get whipped around several times. You got to be careful with even 5-tick losses. But I've found as a rule, if they break and don't do what you think they're going to do, then reverse it for 5 ticks. See, now that's a mid-band trade set up just then on crude oil. There's a mid-band that worked. Where did it do? Stair step, low, high, higher low. First, see how that's higher low right there? Closed above, so you get out. Get back in at mid-band, you're in a trade again. But why wait till it, you know, let's say, for instance, that you took it and you put your stop at mid-band, okay? So you put your stop at mid-band. And what does it do? It takes it out. You didn't know if it was going to go past here. You didn't know if it was going to go past here. You didn't know if it was going to go past here. So the way to do it is get out when you start seeing it stair step. And lightning would have changed to green on that too. But then you got that trade. Beautiful trade, by the way. And look at that monster. So if you'll learn how to trade like I'm teaching right here, don't turn the new deals on auto. Watch for the trade to come to you. Then turn it on. Flatlining, phantom trade. You know, if it takes you, get out of the trade. You could still be in that trade, by the way, because it's never taken the phantom out, truthfully. But if you do micros, it did. So you get out, you get back in, boom, boom. Where's your swing on this chart right here? It's right there. See the low, high, lower low? That's a lower high, isn't it? This may be your new identified swing. Now you got a low, high, higher low. You don't really want a higher high. See how they're wicking it? And you can always use the left swing because the left is king. The right, we're deplorable. So, you know, you got to watch the left. But see how that's doing right there? You got a high, low, lower high, still holding. And you need to take this out, or you've got a low, high, higher low, and if they take this out, you're for sure out of that trade. Okay. Now look to the left of the chart, high, low, lower high. Now you need a lower low, and this will be your new swing if they do it. But this is your swing right here where I've got my line drawn for right now anyway. And see, that's not a new swing yet because they're still stair stepping it. This may be your new swing now. See, high, low, lower high, but you need a lower low. Takes that out, that's going to be your new swing. There you go. Now you got a low, you got a high, same low, so that's not even identified at all. So they can take it out if they want to. See there? Now this may be your new lower high right here if it takes out the low. It's not doing it yet. Now you've got a low, high, higher low. You really don't want a higher high with a closed bar, and they just gave it to you. So you're out. That's how you do it. Everybody see that? Low, high, higher low, higher high on that bar. On the left side of the chart, though, you got a low, high, lower low. So this is your secondary swing. See, and they're holding it with a lower high. So you can stay in this trade, but you can also get out and make all kinds of money. But if you look at the secondary swing, it needs to for sure hold. Okay, so you could still be in it. But if you get out, it's no big deal either because you got him way up here. So who cares if you got out here? Did you get back in? Well, maybe a trader would have. But now it's getting a low, a high, hopefully a lower high. We'll see. This is not your identified swing, but this one is right here. See it? Right here. So if you get a lower high, they're still heading down, but they are double bottoming. That's your true swing on the left right there at 98. Now, if they'll stair step down, this will be your new one at 95. Always look, though. You got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low. You don't want to take this out, and you for sure don't want to take this out at 98. Now, I don't know how anybody could do this with minute charts. There you go. See how it held just like I said it would? Now, you look to the left to trade the right. You got a low, you got a high, same low, so this doesn't count here. This one still does over here at 98. But as soon as it takes out this low, this will count here at 95 and even a micro swing on top of that. Okay, see your micro swing right here? If it closes below here, that micro swing at 84 should hold. See there? Now this is your new identified swing right there at 84. So get rid of these lines. You don't need them anymore. See how that works? Low, high, lower, low. This is your micro swing right here. Micro, 74. But your identified swing is 84. And if you don't believe it, all you got to do is turn it on. You'll see it. The desk about fell apart. Now it's kind of hard to see because it's red, but see, I still tagged it. You wish I was recording this, Chris? We'll do that. I'll start to record it, see how it's getting a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, but not closed above. And there's your swing right there at 74, your micro. Your secondary swing is 84, and 74 is holding, see, on the left. On the right, you're getting a low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. And if you get another higher high, they're taking out micro. All right, your secondary is all the way up at 84. Do you want to hold it that long? Well, if you do, you might get a lower high right here. Okay. See there? How they micros they'll take out, but then they'll give you this nice move again. Okay, there's your swing. Now you've got a low, high, higher, low again. This is an identified swing on the right there. See your low, high, higher, low. If they take it out, this is the one on the left at 84. There you go. Now here's your new low setting up right here, lower high, right here where my cursor's at, if this closes below. Wicks it, you got to be careful. Wicked it, little double bottom. But that's still a low, high, lower low. So this is pretty much your identified swing in my opinion, even though they didn't close it. Now this may be the new one right here. See there at 68. Because if they took it out, they'd get a low, high, higher low, and higher high to take it out. But your true identified swing, low, high, lower low, is right there. So micros at 68 and secondaries at 74. So in your stop settings on OT, do you always have the box checked for exit on close? It depends. You can also have your finger on the close trigger too. See how that wicked that little swing? It didn't do a low, high, higher low, and higher high because it didn't close. Now that's trying to close. See if it rolls. So far, so good. But your identified swing is still 74. Okay. Yeah, you want to put it on exit on close, or, you know, exit on close is the same thing as 4 ticks, obviously, right? Because a bar would be 4 ticks. So you could just put it, you know, just put it a couple of 3 ticks above the swing that you draw in real time, because you could be drawing your out with, see, like that would take me out right there, unless this holds. See how that's holding so far? They wicked it, set it ahead of time. So you could still be in it, but see how you're getting a low, high, higher low, higher high, but it didn't close above it. See there? It's not closed above that yet. And here's your identified swing right there. They're checking it. Yeah, if they, yeah, see you're out. Now that's another entry if you wanted it. And mid-band trader, by the way, would grab that trade in a heartbeat before you could hit the button, because it would fire on that bar. And there's you another mid-band trade. And it looks like you might, yeah, you don't have 8 ticks, but I would definitely put my stop top of that box or inside that box. You could be out. Did that actually do 8 ticks? Not yet, but you're still in it if you put your stop right there at the top of the box. Let's see if it works. You got a high, low, lower high barely. Let's see if it takes out this low. Starting to get higher lows and higher highs too. And it did break lightning 3 over here to the left. Let's see if this holds. If it doesn't, then this trade did not work, or it may have gotten you 8 ticks out of the box. You may have gotten those 8 ticks. So far, it's still holding. All you got to do is take this out to head on down again. Higher low again. Needs to get a lower high. There's your lower high. Okay, so where's your identified swing on this chart? Now on the right, you got a high, low, lower high, lower low. So this is your identified swing. All right, if they go low, high, higher low, and higher high. Now see, right now that swings all the way up here. And unfortunately, when you don't have a zigzag, they're going to check it. See there, there's no zigzag. They checked it. Now you've got a low, a high, higher low, but not a higher high yet. So you're still short. Target's right there, but you don't want to do a low, high, higher low than this and then take this out because you'll be done. But see, you did get 8-tick trade, 8-tick trade, another 8-tick trade if you just turned it on and went for 8 ticks. But you could still be riding the original one if you wanted to be, because I've drawn it in real time. Takes this out, they'll head on down and check those lows. They're checking it out. All right, where's your identified swing now? It's right there, because you're literally getting bars that go straight down. They're not zigzagging, but that one zigzagged a little bit. See if we can roll over again without taking that top out. Identified swing. And this is your secondary identified swing. See how they're checking it? But you could be out of that trade, obviously, because it busted right back up through support and everything, or that was resistance, or that was support and now became resistance. See what I mean? So you got 8-tick trade, 8-tick trade, 8-tick trade, 8-tick trade. Now this is a phantom, but look to the left to trade the right, and they're even taking out lightning 3 on the left and on the right. It's true phantom. If you take it, you're already in it. Try to get 8 ticks. Should try to come down to there if it's going to. And now you're getting a high, low, possibly a higher high. We'll see if we get a lower high. But if you got in this right here, then could you reverse that trade if it takes out that box? Well, if you did, unfortunately, you'd have to put your stop right there, because that's the swing. See, so that's still just a phantom that held at line 8, because that's the way we designed it. It didn't close anyway. Now that might have got you though. If you did put it at line 8, it did get it. But just think, you went from shorts to now looking for longs. And all you got to do is wait for the stair step maybe again and get a mid-band trade. Okay, everyone? We ran over about 3 minutes. I really wish I would have recorded this. It would have been a 2-hour bonanza webinar that if somebody really watched it in real time, you'd find out how to stay in a trade and how to wait for the next one to come to you. And I didn't trade one time during the room, but I did trade this morning. So if you look at oil back when I got up, man, they move a lot of bars in the morning, don't they? I got up right at about 6 o'clock. I got that phantom trade right there, topped out, got out, shorted the break right here because I was getting ready for another phantom, but it didn't ratchet, so I was cautious of it, and it broke like a big dog. That was a monster. Went right down to my target. Then this mid-band right here was perfect. All you got to do is if you get a trade and then, you know, they just take this thing down like a monster, you could be done anyway. You know, that you're up a couple of $1,000s on this trade and that trade with like 2 contracts. Because that little trade right there at that top, if you got in like right here on this bar that went up, say 87, 75, or 76, went all the way up to 12. You know, that's a 40, 36, 38 tick trade, right? So 2 contracts, that's say $700 even if you got out here. But see your stair stepping, you get out when it does a high, low, lower high, and lower low. So you got out right through there. So you still made about 25 ticks. So that's a $500 trade. That's a $1,000 trade. That's a $500 trade. Again, that's another nice trade right to the top. So you get the picture, right? All you got to do is get a few of those and you're done. Mid-band, mid-band, mid-band. I even boxed this one right here. You see my box. I got that long, got that short. That was a phantom at the time. Put my stop at line 8, got that monster. And I don't remember if I got that one because I was getting the room ready. I don't think I got that one, but I called that one. Remember that for y'all? $200 trade, easily 200 or more. High, low, higher high. When it takes out this area right through here, you're out. High, low, higher high, you're stopped out. Okay. And then we got this nice monster. Remember, 8 o'clock, called that one out. This one faked us, but we went long. Remember? Called this one. Nice top. Called that one right there. This one did not work. Remember? We didn't reverse it, but we went long on the phantom. So you get pretty nicely green on this software. See there, mid-band trade. I even said, wait for a stair-stepping mid-band. You got it. This one was a little bit deeper, but it got a mid-band trade, stopped you out there. And over, you got decent trades. Okay, so let's do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's not non-farm payroll or anything like that. I'll record the session and I'll teach this exact way. Okay, I'll get my trading done before the room opens so that I simply, in real time, teach you how to do this. And it'll be recorded for posterity. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day. And give a little prayer for Charles, because I'm not sure what's going on when he's, tests and things like that. Pray for him. Okay. All right, everyone. I think you can see some good trades on these charts. And there was plenty on other charts too. We didn't just, call on oil alone. Look at that gold. I even said, wait for the stair-stepping mid-band, and boom, you nailed it. Okay. What about a phantom trade? You nailed it. Yeah, just don't turn them on and leave them on, because they're not going to, you can't auto trade something that's also somewhat discretionary. And it's only discretionary because we trade a certain way. Okay. But that way that we trade works. All right. All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks again. I think I will go ahead and skip the webinar tonight. Truthfully, with as much as my duties have been lately, I just soon have the night off. But I'll do an actual trading webinar tomorrow. Okay. We'll diagnose these charts in real time. All right. Thanks, everyone. Oh, by the way, if somebody did record this today, give me a shout and I can actually post it if you did. Because I know some people do record. So maybe we do have a recording of it. All right. If you did, give me a shout, and we can turn it into an MP4 and get it on the website. Oh, by the way, just a real quick heads up too. I was telling you about the changes coming to Object Trader. Give me still about a week, because we've already got the right-click trades perfected. We don't have them where they'll scale out yet. Like, in other words, if you're in a long trade, you can't go, put in a short to scale out, which I want that done too. We're getting a little quantity wheel where you can change the amount of contracts. And we're getting, let's see, what else was there? The predictor going to be revamped. And even the predictor trade on Object Trader is going to be revamped, because I never really liked the way it trades. Because if it loses a predictor, it doesn't take it anymore. But the way I wanted it designed was that a predictor draws, and it only takes that trade if that predictor's in, but it still keeps the box like so. Let's say it was long above here, even though that one didn't really work. But then it would, once it does another predictor, it would draw here. See what I mean? And then if it got another predictor, it would draw here. So you'd be able to actually trade it like a box, but it would go from predictor to predictor. So I'm working on that too. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Phantom trades work, by the way. Look at ES Mercy. Okay, everyone. Have a great day, and I will cancel the webinar for tonight. And if anybody recorded this one, let me know. But I'll record it tomorrow. Even if they did, we'll have 2 of them up there. All right. And if you have friends or anybody that wants to learn how to trade, give them your link for, get them in touch with us so we can get them a trial, obviously. But we love to teach people to do this. You can make money doing this. Okay. All right. What is this trade setting up right now on ES? By the way, what trade is that on crude oil? It's a phantom trade. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great and blessed day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. And I'll cancel the webinar tonight, and I'll send out a reminder that we canceled it too. Okay. Thanks, everyone.